Why were the previous Call of Duty games so good? I'm talking Call of Duty like 1 all the way up to Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 or Black Ops 2, whichever one you prefer. Now I know the obvious answer because I made a similar video a few months back. It's money. Money is the key thing. Money affects everything. Capitalism. It's the way of the world, mate. It's how it works. But I want to go a bit deeper. I'm not going to talk about the money, okay? The money is the obvious one. Everyone knows it's money. I want to go a little bit deeper. I want to talk about the campaigns. I want to talk about the quality of the games themselves. I want to talk about how the multiplayer was all those years ago. I want to talk about how progression had a bigger impact than just leveling up your guns. It was a moment of proudness, walking around with your gold camos or your diamond camos in Black Ops 2, for example. Those were moments of greatness. You put in the time, everyone respects it, unless you hacked it. If you hacked it, fair enough. Not all of us had time to do it, but hey, fair play for finding someone that could hack it. Now, I'm not a fool. Nostalgia is a very, very big part of how we view those previous games, especially if you were around at the time when they came out. I know a lot of people are quite young now and they haven't even played the old Call of Duties. They haven't played Call of Duty 3, Modern Warfare 2007, World at War. They didn't play these games. But I still believe, and it's not nostalgia, I still believe those games are significantly better than any of the Call of Duties we've got in like the last, I don't know, 5-6 years, including the Modern Warfare remake from 2019. That campaign is good, the multiplayer was good, but I don't think it was anywhere near as good as the previous games. Our standards just lowered. So let's talk about it. The importance of campaigns in Call of Duty.
We want the numbers, Mason. That's all we've ever wanted.
Call of Duty campaigns were always pretty good. Even the first couple of COD games. The first COD game didn't even have regenerating health. You had to find health packs. That's how different these games were back then. Eventually they added in your health regenerating, but that's not the point. The previous Call of Duty games like Call of Duty World at War, Modern Warfare 2007, Call of Duty 3, Black Ops 2, etc. all had pretty damn good campaigns. Some varied in quality, some were better than others, naturally, but they all had at least a decent campaign. One of my favorites is World at War, because that's really what Call of Duty was about. It was about immersing you in the battlefield. It was about immersing you in these horrible times where people were dying left, right, and center and putting you in the middle of it with a group of soldiers with you, usually. Of course, this changed after Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, 2009 version, because that was when Call of Duty decided to become a bit more, action set piece heavy, a bit more epic, that kind of thing. More Hollywood rather than indie, I guess. But even those campaigns were good. But to me, Call of Duty campaigns were always about that World War II feel to it, even if it was set in the modern day. Modern Warfare 2007, that campaign felt gritty. It felt somewhat grounded. And plus, it was different at the time. 2007, everyone was a World War II shooter. Everyone wanted to be the next Call of Duty, and Call of Duty at the time actually were 2 steps ahead. They were like, okay, let's do something different, let's go modern day. And they still delivered an epic campaign. These campaigns were so focused on immersing you that it very rarely went over the top. Like, the most over the top these games went at the time were not even epic in a sense. It was those risks they took. Modern Warfare 2, for example, no Russian. That mission, that was nuts, okay? It was hardly epic, but it was something that gamers really never took part in before, and it made waves across mainstream news because of how risky it was.
A popular new video game actually allows you to be a terrorist and kill people. Take a look.
And then you've got games like Call of Duty World at War, where their idea of epic wasn't to put you in multiple tanks and then switching you over to different soldiers or going over to this area or this area. It was about slowly proning your way through hundreds of dead bodies after you've been betrayed by someone you would call your ally with Reznov. That kind of stuff is missing from these newer Call of Duties because they don't have any balls anymore. The perfect example is Call of Duty World War II, the Sledgehammer game that came out in 2017, I think it was. If you compare Call of Duty 2017 World War II to Call of Duty World at War, the difference in immersion, the difference in the way they tell the story, the difference of how grounded it feels is staggering. It is staggering. When we all found out they were finally making another World War II game, we all thought World at War. It's got to be World at War. You've got the foundation right there. Just do World at War again, but set it in a different, squad or something. But instead, they choose to go down the pathetic attempt of being Saving Private Ryan. But they completely missed the point of Saving Private Ryan, which was the grittiness of it, the conflict, the effects of the conflict, the people dying. It's not an epic Hollywood blockbuster. That, I mean, it was, but it made it pretty damn clear that it's not elevating the violence. It's looking down on it. It's showing pity in a way. And then World War II comes out and it does the exact opposite. It's just it's so tone deaf. It's so I hate that campaign. I hate it. I mean, just look how clean it is. I was watching this really great video on why movies these days seem so clean, whereas, you know, 20 years ago everything was quite dirty. It was quite realistic. You know, it was set. It's like you could feel it, and that is relevant to World War II versus World at War. The difference is staggering, man. It's amazing how different and crazy it is. I don't know. But those are some of my most memorable moments. World at War, I remember basically every mission in that game. The opening, Semper Fi, I think it was called, where you're being tortured, man. You're being tortured. You finally get saved, then you go into this area, and then you get jumped on. You're like, oh my god, there's an ambush. What the fuck? They're in the fucking trees. What the fuck is going on? What the fuck? And then World War II, they just, oh yep, here's D-Day again. Oh, cinematic. Wait, man, get the fuck out of here. Nah. But even the older Call of Duties, Call of Duty 3 for example, the first Call of Duty that went on Xbox 360, was also set in World War II, and these are equally as good, I think. Yeah, World at War, you know, it was like 4 years later it came out. Yeah, the graphics were better, the story I think was more interesting. But at the end of the day, Call of Duty 3 was still brilliant at the time. I think people forget about Call of Duty 3. I love Call of Duty 3, I think it was great. But over time, they naturally evolved away from being this super gritty, grounded telling of World War II stories and, you know, modern day stories, because that's what the audiences demanded. This is the problem when you make a franchise, okay? Each sequel has to be bigger, has to be better than the last. And they were for a while, until Modern Warfare 3, 2011. Modern Warfare 2 was good. It did lean a bit too much towards the epicness, the Hollywoodness to it, and rightfully there was quite a bit of criticism about it. Then Black Ops comes out, and it's like the complete opposite. But you're back in Vietnam and all that crap, and you know it's getting a bit more grounded. Sure, there's some moments where you're like, what the fuck, yeah, this is a bit epic, but hey, who cares? It was still, you know, it was that classic Call of Duty feeling. And then Modern Warfare 3 comes out, and they double down on everything that people criticized about Modern Warfare 2, which obviously pissed people off, but it was still a fun game. It made sense, you know. It got bigger and bigger and bigger, ended on Modern Warfare 3, which is what they did. And then Black Ops 2 comes out, often regarded as one of the best Call of Duty games ever made. I agree. I absolutely agree. But that campaign was scaled way up to the epic factor and lost that immersion feeling to it. Still a fantastic campaign, but it didn't quite feel like Call of Duty to me, but I like it for what it is, you know what I mean? But this was lost. This was definitely lost after Black Ops 2. Once Ghost came out, it was just a downward spiral. That feeling of immersion was gone. That feeling of grittiness was completely eradicated. And there hasn't really been a campaign quite like those previous Call of Duties ever since. And eventually Black Ops 4 came out, and they just completely ditched the campaign, which just shows where the focus was in the end. But the campaigns were a massive factor as to why these games are so good, because back then, multiplayer wasn't actually the focus. Multiplayer didn't really become the focus till about 2007, 2008, because Modern Warfare was great, World at War was great, and then 2009, that was when it went, right, we're going straight for the multiplayer, and we'll do the campaign as well. And then after that, it was like, what's a campaign, bro? What campaign? Get the fuck out. Who wants a campaign? But I don't know, do you disagree with me? Please let me know. That'd be a very interesting conversation to have with you all. But most important bit, as I just said, it's got to be the multiplayer. You see, the multiplayer of Call of Duty really hasn't changed that much. Obviously, you've got the money factor, the microtransactions, the loot boxes, all of that stuff. But talking about game design, it really is kind of the same game every time. I mean, Call of Duty went through a phase where every Call of Duty were doing three-way map design. So what that is you got the left, you got the right, and then you got the middle. And just, it's some of the most basic map design you can choose to use in a game like Call of Duty. And that was kind of the thing that changed the most, was the map design, because that was what it was for a while. But everything else kind of stayed the same. You unlock guns, you shoot guns, you get kill streaks, and that was that. But even these later Call of Duties, now that microtransactions and, you know, loot boxes were added in, it's lost the feeling of progression. Yes, okay, you level up your guns, but bear with me. Leveling up is great in these newer Call of Duties. It still feels good. You're leveling up your guns, it feels good to level up. But it's not as good as the previous games. Let's talk about camos for a second. What do you think of camos today? What do you think? Whenever you see someone with a camo, you think, they bought that camo, because they did. They bought that fucking camo. They bought it. Oh, wow, nice, you spent money. Oh, you've got more money than me. Brilliant. That's exactly what I wanted to be reminded of. Whereas back 10 years ago, camos were a sign of prestige. It was a medal that you could put on your gun. Gold camo, Black Ops 1. I remember grinding that fucking game to get gold camo. I never did, unfortunately. But I did my best. I did my best to get that camo because it was a sign of valor. It was a sign that you were dedicated. It was a sign that you put in more time than everyone else and you earned that camo. Today, no one cares. No one cares. And that sucks. Prestige, as I just said, that was massive. That was massively important. Anyone that you saw that was 10th prestige, especially in like the first month or two of the game, yeah, you thought they were a bit sad, but you know, there was a bit of respect there. You know, you're like, wow, 10th prestige, fair play, well done, congrats. And it also encouraged people to not accuse people of hacking or anything like that, because oh, they're 10th prestige or 15th prestige like Black Ops 1. You're like, yep, okay, no, I'm getting whooped. That's fair enough. I lose because he's better or she's better. Makes sense. These days, it just doesn't have that. What is prestige today? What is prestige in the newest Call of Duties? I don't know, because I don't care. I don't care to level up. I don't care to get whatever the prestige is now, because it means nothing. It's nothing. It means absolutely nothing. So why the hell would I grind out to go get it? But the worst part is that, once again, I don't want to talk about it, but the money factor. They want you to buy those camos. They want you to buy these progression boosts or whatever you want to call them, double XP boosts or whatever. You really can't earn these in the game anymore. And why do you care? Why do you care? Everything about these newer games are designed to waste your time. These gun upgrades, so instead of leveling up and unlocking a specific gun now, you have to level up this specific gun, and then you have to level up this specific gun to unlock this specific gun. But now that you've got this specific gun, you want to upgrade this specific gun, you need to level up this this gun, and then you got to level up this gun, and then you can actually access this gun. Like, what the fuck is going on? Why? Why are we doing this? No one wants to do this. No one wants to have a fucking maths test to upgrade the bloody gun. Just let us upgrade the gun. It's not that fucking difficult to do, and that's what it was like back then. This is not nostalgia. This isn't nostalgia. This is a fact. It is a fact. Progression was better all those years ago. Let's talk about maps. What's the most memorable map that you can think of from Modern Warfare 3, 2, or 1, the recent ones? Maybe Shoot House, but that's also a 3-lane map. Who cares? Whereas Black Ops 1, bang, you've got Silo, boom, Nuketown. Oh my goodness. Ooh, 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 ooh. The golf course map that came out in the DLC. Let's talk about Modern Warfare 2. Terminal. High Rise. Favela. Come on. Come on. Just come on. Black Ops 2. The ship map. The ship where you're on a ship. How cool is that map? You're on a fucking ship and you're shooting. It's so cool. It's so cool. There's no creativity in the new maps anymore. It's just soulless. It's soul-suckingly bad. And I'm so happy I didn't buy Modern Warfare 3 this year, because it looks like shit, and it probably is shit. And lastly, as I said in the What Happened to Call of Duty in Battlefield video, the most important bit for me anyway is community. I'm playing Helldivers 2 right now. I'm absolutely loving it. But the community in that game is so superior to anything Call of Duty has had to offer in the last 15 years. Community is a dead thing in Call of Duty now. If you're not a Warzone streamer or you know, a big streamer that groups up with other people, that's what the community is now. It's about stream sniping streamers. That is Call of Duty. That is the community. It's full. It's just, I get it. It's aimed at kids, even though there's an 18 rated on the box. But hey, we're not talking about that. But the community is just non-existent, man, and it just sucks. Because there was a time where Call of Duty was the biggest thing. This is the series that took over Halo, and you know how big Halo's community fucking was. It was like the biggest community in gaming ever back then, and Call of Duty overtook it. That's impressive. But these days, not so much. Please like the video if you enjoyed it. Stick with the Sticky Man by subscribing if you haven't. Thank you to Max for still subscribing to the channel through a donation, the donation system, the memberships, I guess they're called. Thank you, Max, if you're watching this. I really appreciate it, man. Have a good day. Cheerio, and, you know, just go play Helldivers 2. It's a good game.